I ran it over. Oh my God. What is up, guys? My name is Brent Ruiz and welcome back to the YouTube channel. As you can see right behind me, this is my AMG GT R, the 2018, painted in that amazing green hell magna, which with this sunlight just beating down on it looks absolutely sick. Check out that view, by the way. I love this mountain pass. This is one of my favorite roads to drive here in Southern California, Palomar Mountain. Anyway, I have owned this car for now 6 months and I have put on it 7,600 miles, which I know is kind of a lot for this type of car in that short amount of time, but it's true. So I'm gonna show you guys what a well-used AMG GT R looks like after 7,600 miles of not daily driver highway miles. This car, I would say 80% of the miles on it is canyon roads like this and track. 5 track days I've done with this thing and it has all been an absolute blast. I'm gonna tell you guys the maintenance costs. I'm gonna tell you how much I've paid for all the mods, which haven't really been many mods, but I will tell you that, and I'll also tell you guys about the ownership cost of this car. How much exactly has this car cost me just in terms of the depreciation of how many miles I've put on it in such a short amount of time. And I think you'll be very, very surprised as to how much exactly I have lost on this car, or in this case, not lost. But actually, before I get inside and go for a drive to talk to you about all that stuff, let's do a quick little walk around and show you guys exactly how much wear and tear this car has accumulated over this past 7,600 miles. Now, I did purchase this car with 600 miles on it, so I have put myself on it 7,600 miles. It currently sits at 8,200, almost 8,300 miles now. And I'm very, very happy to report that, just considering the way that I've been using this car, like, the wear and tear on it is not bad at all. Like, it looks very, very similar to the way that I got it when it came off the delivery truck 6 months ago. So let's do this walk around. The wheels. Now, I think the wheels are one of the most biggest pain points when you're tracking it. All the gravel and rocks that gets picked up when people go off at the track and it gets shot back at you. Well, that's probably the most dangerous part about tracking your car. But as long as you have clear bra, which I do, I'll show you that right now. And hopefully you also have your wheels coated to kind of try to give that extra protective layer. You can ceramic coat your wheels, but even then, this is the problem wheel. The only real wheel that I've found issues with. Right there, you'll see something hit the wheel right there as well. I think somewhere around here, there's something else too. No, everything looks pretty clear actually, but just those 2 little rock chips or whatever hit it. That's the only issue that I found with all 4 wheels. The other ones are like completely fine, which is pretty astounding given the fact that I've tracked this car 5 times. Let's move on to the clear bra. This is a definite must. When you buy this car, clear bra first before you even drive it. Honestly, because there's so much gravel. If you're doing like cruises and canyon drives and track days, of course, you're gonna get stuff launched back at you. And when I say stuff, I mean rocks, gravel, all that stuff. So you need to have some kind of protection, not just on the paint, but also on the headlights. Check this out right there. Something hit the headlight right there. And if I didn't have this, as you can see, it's peeling off. I have to get that fixed. But if I didn't have this layer of protection of clear bra, this headlight would need to be replaced. And as you can imagine, that is not cheap. So the other kind of weird thing about the front end of this car though, is that this black textured area right here, it could not be clear bra'd. That is at least what the installer told me, just because it's this weird texture that clear bra will not adhere to. Overall, it looks pretty fine, but the rest of the front end here, including this piano black trim at the bottom, is protected with clear bra. And the clear bra goes all the way up, covering the entire hood, covering the fender all the way down here, including this rocker panel going all the way back, because this area here is very, very prone to rock chips and just a ton of debris on the road. And right here, you can see this is peeling off already. I have to get that fixed too, but I don't know if it's the installation or just how much I use the car, but you know, it's kind of just a, there we go. No. Yeah, we need to fix that. Okay, but yeah, when you do your clear bra, make sure to not just get the hood, but get the fenders, get the rocker panel, and get your side view mirrors, especially if they're the carbon fiber option, and your headlights. That is an absolute must. Now, the other thing that obviously really does get beat up is your windshield, especially when you're doing lots of canyon drives, cruises with other supercars and stuff like that, track days. So I was actually supposed to do this right when I got it, but there are different brands, different companies that offer basically a clear bra for your windshield. You see all these little marks. Like, my windshield is not dirty. I actually cleaned it today. All those little marks that you see, those are little microchips caused from dust, dirt, and rocks that are just flying back at you when you're following somebody and you're going very, very fast. yeah, there's no real way to escape that. The only real thing you can do is just to protect it so that when it does get beat up, basically you just replace the layer, like it just peels off and then you do another one and then your windshield is protected. Now in this case, I'm just gonna go through insurance to replace it when it gets bad enough to replace. So that's pretty much my only viable option at this point because it is, as you can see, very, very beat up. But it doesn't bother me yet. Obviously, it's not the very nicest thing to look at, but hey, I'm using the car the way it was meant to be used, and a few little microchips here and there on the windshield is definitely par for the course. Just real quick before we get to the interior, I want to show you the tires. I did turn them so you can see the inner edge. This is the part of the tire that cords very, very hard on this car, at least with the stock alignment. I've done literally 4 track days with this set of tires, and look, there's still a good amount of tread on there. They'll probably need to be replaced after a few more track days, but overall these Cup 2s, they're really holding up pretty strong. Okay, so let's move on to the interior. I'll show you the wear and tear in here, which is not bad whatsoever. I'm so impressed. Like, look at this. Just take a look at the quality of the leather here on the seats and then the Alcantara and even the side bolsters. They're not even worn out that much. Check this out. Like, this is an 8,200 mile car, and it looks nearly like the day that I got it from that delivery truck. Up and inside here, the only real, like, noticeable wear is obviously what you can see here, right here where you wrap your thumb around the wheel. That is obviously very, very worn out, at least in comparison to the rest of it, which the rest of it is looking very, very good still. Obviously an issue with all Alcantara steering wheels, but considering how much I actually drive it, and I'm always in this position, like literally always, even when I'm not driving hard, that is not too bad in terms of wear. Now the rest of the interior, it looks brand new, honestly. Like, there is nothing to complain about here. Obviously, not many people sit here in the passenger seat, only Sarah when she comes with me on cruises when she's not driving her car. The Alcantara really, really does hold up really well. I've been making it a point to keep very, very good care of the carbon fiber trim here. And then this piano black, a lot of people scratch this up. It's really, really prone to obviously fingerprint smudges, but scratching as well. So I think I've done a really good job with that. I don't see a single scratch on there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And just to confirm, by the way, that this car does have the amount of mileage that I'm saying right there. There we go. 8,300 now. We just passed it. Very, very happy with the level of, let me just fix the lighting here. Very, very happy with the level or lack of level of wear on this car. Mercedes, man, they know what they're doing when they're making the interiors and the entire car, obviously, but they really do excel with the interior quality, and it has held up really, really well. Now, that's not to say that other people won't take care of the interior of their car as much as I do, which I don't really take care of it. I just try to, you know, not screw it up. But when I was searching for this car, before I bought it and taking a look at other cars, there's people out there that don't really take care of the cars. I'm just gonna say that. So obviously it depends on the owner and how much they take care of their car, but just on a normal use basis, you can definitely expect to put a lot of mileage on your GTR and be able to sell it and put in the description of the listing that the interior and exterior is like new. Sorry guys, whenever I get in this car and I am presented with a road like this is all you can really do. Okay, this is not a driving video, so I'm gonna stop and try to talk to you guys, so I'm sorry about that. If you want to see more hard driving with this car, check out the previous videos on my channel. Got POV drives, track driving, all that good stuff. So first things first, if I actually want to talk to you guys, I'm gonna put the valves on. There we go. Gonna put the suspension in comfort. It's still pretty loud, but okay. It's much more bearable. First thing I want to talk about is the cost of ownership of this car, and I will be the first one to say I was extremely fortunate in the timing of the purchase of this car, because the used car market, especially right now, is absolutely ridiculous in terms of how inflated all the values are. And I purchased this car literally like 1 week before the market started to go insane. So that being said, just yesterday I was browsing cars.com and Car Gurus, all those sites, checking to see how much I could sell my car right now, today, and just comparing it to other cars that are currently listed for sale with similar miles, the same spec, the same year. I can actually sell my car for exactly what I paid for it, which is freaking awesome, right? Yes, it is completely lucky timing, because I didn't know, nobody knew how crazy the car market, the used car market would go about 6 months ago. And today it is just crazy. Not just car market, but the market in general. You know, you just look at real estate prices, house prices, it's just crazy. So the cost of ownership in terms of the value of the car, I'm break even. I have literally put like 7,500 miles. I bought this car with 600 miles. I'm at 8,290 right now. So, you know, around 7,600 miles or so. And I have pretty much driven this car 7,600 miles for free. Well, not including the other costs that I'm about to tell you guys, but that is pretty awesome. Now, I don't think I'm gonna be selling this car very soon. I did wanna hold it for at least a year, and I'm at the halfway mark now, 6 months. So here's to hoping that the car market still just maintains how crazy it is in terms of value, and that I can still sell this AMG GT R in 6 months from now for at least a little bit under what I paid for it. Let's move on to maintenance costs, and I'll also talk about the cost of modifications that I've made to this car. So maintenance costs, it has really been very, very basic. So I've done one oil change during these 7,600 miles for about 250 bucks, 300 bucks at the top, I think, is what some dealers are charging. The other thing I had to do was replace the tires. So stock, this car comes with the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, and I did a straight up replacement for just new Cup 2 tires, because the ones that were on my car, I think I changed them like at 6,000 miles or so. I took it to a shop and they put it up on the rack, and they found that the front tires were in very bad shape. The inner side of the front tires were actually cording. So I had no idea about it. I did obviously notice that after every canyon drive, I would definitely be losing some front end grip, and it would start to understeer a lot. So I knew something was up, but I didn't know that they were gonna be cording already. So I had the tires changed for $1,900, which is actually a very good price for Cup 2 tires on this car. And I have to give a big thanks to HG Motorsports, the shop that I took it to, because they definitely did hook me up on those tires. And after the tire install, I also had the car aligned for an additional 200 bucks or so. So new tires, alignment, and oil change, those are literally all of the basic maintenance items that I have done on this car after driving it 7,600 miles. And when I say 7,600 miles, I'm not talking about like daily driving highway miles. Most of the miles on this car, I would say like 80%, are canyon driving like I am on this canyon road right now, and track miles, or driving it to the track. So, you know, these miles, they have not been very, very easy for this car, but the car has taken them without any issue. Now, when I first bought the car, in the first 100 miles of ownership, I experienced a power steering issue, pretty much a power steering failure. One day I was just driving it after driving it in a canyon, and on the way home, just on normal city streets, I started to turn, and the car would not turn. I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced a power steering failure when you're driving. It is a pretty sketchy situation. So it did turn, but it took an enormous amount of force, and the steering ratio, like the turning ratio of the car, it was like close to nothing. It barely turned. So I was able to get back home, and then I pretty much took it to the dealership the next day, and they covered the issue under warranty, so I didn't have to pay anything. But yeah, they just replaced the power steering unit and the power steering pump, and everything was totally fine after that. So if you do buy a car like this, just make sure that either the power steering issue has been checked or replaced in the past, because I think it is somewhat of a common issue. In terms of actual problems with the car, that is the only problem that I've had that was not induced on my part by doing mods. So with that being said, let's move on to the mods that I've done on this car, which, as you might imagine, have cost me a lot more than the maintenance items on this car. So first of all, I did the downpipe installation, which the downpipes themselves, FI Exhaust provided them for $3,000, although I did get them on sale for $2,750, and then a local shop here installed them for me for an additional $700. And I have a full video about the downpipes installation and how I went about doing that installation, because there are two different ways to do that. And go check it out. I'll link it in the description below. The downpipes installed $2,750 plus $700 to install. After the downpipes were installed, I did a tune on the car, like a stage 1 tune, just for an extra 80 horsepower or so. I think it was pushing out like probably 650 horsepower at that point. And depending on who you get to do your tune, you'll spend anywhere from $1,500 up to $3,000. But unfortunately, in my case, and I did a lot of research, by the way, and I could not find any other AMG GT owners who had experienced the same issue that I did after doing a tune. This car simply did not like the tune. It just didn't like it. And while it was fine on just regular roads and even canyon driving, once I took it to the track, that's when it started having issues. So after talking to Matt from HD Tuning, the tuner, he's an awesome guy, and he did everything he could to kind of diagnose the issues that I was having. And at the end of the day, we both agreed that it was a combination of the high G turns that I would take at the track, because this only happened at the track. So after I took a high G turn, I would get limp mode in the car. And after plugging in my OBD2 scanner, the code that I would get that I believe was the culprit of the limp mode was a fuel rail pressure code. And after talking to Matt, he was also of the opinion that the computer in this car thinks that the fuel pressure is just dropping when it's actually not, but it still pops the sensor and just throws the car into limp mode, which was obviously very, very unfortunate as I'm dodging a squirrel. It happened 2 times, and then after that, we went ahead and just decided to reflash the car back to stock and then to try a track day again, which I just did. The only real way to prove that it was tune related and not any other issue on the car, because we did check the car for any other possible issues that could be causing that. We did consider that it could have been the valve actuator motor, because these cars are known for having those go out, which when it does go out, it causes limp mode automatically. So we did replace that part for an additional $600 or so, including part and labor. And I took it to the track again, and it still happened. And we concluded that the only real way to prove that this is 100% for sure tune related is to reflash the car back to stock and then have me take it back out to the track, which we just did. So we reflashed it back to stock. I just took it to Willow Springs literally like 3 days ago, and lo and behold, no errors, no issues whatsoever. This car drove like a dream with no limp mode at all. So at the end of the day, we did finalize that this car was affected by the tune. It is what it is. At least it wasn't another problem with the car itself. And now that the car is back to stock, I think I'm just going to keep it this way for a bit. Really looking forward to doing more track days with this car, even though it has a little bit less power now. So overall, in the past 7,600 miles of ownership and driving and enjoying the crap out of this car, I have only had that one issue, a self-induced issue, by the way. I didn't have to do the tune. You don't have to do the tune. I really don't think the tune is necessary to do on a stock AMG GT R, because out of the factory, it already has 577 horsepower. After we reflashed it back to stock, I did some polls, and the difference is, it's not that big. It's not that big. And I am really kind of eager now to take it back to one of my favorite local racetracks here, Chuckwalla, where I did one of my best times ever. That was back when the car was tuned, before I had the limp mode issue. So I want to kind of test if the reduction in power, how much, if at all, it changes the lap time that I'm able to achieve on that track. And in terms of mods, that's all this car really needs. You just need the downpipes and a tune. The tune is optional, but the downpipes definitely do make this car sound a lot more mean. So I definitely recommend those. But in terms of mods, everything else is stock still in this car, and it really doesn't need much else, honestly. For you guys that are thinking about getting this car in the future, you don't really need to do a whole lot to this car to make it enjoyable. It is incredibly enjoyable out of the box. Mercedes AMG, they did an awesome job with this car. I really never thought that I'd be so confident in a car that I'm able to take it to the track as much as I have, and I anticipate many future track days in the very near future that this car is just so confidence inspiring. It is so easy to drive. Check out my other track videos, guys. It is incredible what you can do with this car. It's like a cheat code at the track, and even here on canyon roads like this, it's an absolute blast. So if you're in the market for a car like this, just know that, yeah, it does have other competitors, but as the best driver's car, if you really want to drive the car and still be able to daily drive it in some comfort, this is the best driver's car in the bracket that it's in, no doubt. And I'm so glad that I chose it. I never thought I would be a Mercedes guy, but this car has definitely changed my mind. I think that's gonna be it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing. There's another squirrel. I think I ran it over. Oh my God. No, he survived. Okay. Yes. Holy crap, that was close. Wait, I don't think I've done a launch yet. So let's just get that done right now. Got a little bit of a straightaway here. Foot on the brake. Incredibly hard even without the tune. You don't need a tune in this car. You do not. Anyway, that's gonna be it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already, and I will see you all in the next one. Deuces.